Welcome to Discover Indie Film. I'm Jeff Howard, and I'm really excited. I might say that every time, but this one's super exciting because I've got Rob Neilson on Zoom with me. Hey, Rob.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me.
It is going great, and it's a pleasure to have you. And this isn't the first time we're getting to meet, even if it's Zoom. And it's a big fucking deal to me. I'm not going to lie, because your film, The Word, I know you for the film The Word, although I know you've done a lot of work in your time. But your film, The Word, was an official selection last year at Film Invasion Los Angeles in 2024. And it's also like the favorite film of all time in my household. Believe it or not, before I list out all the awards you won at Film Invasion Los Angeles, when my wife and I, and this is a confession, we spent 4th of July in Canada. For 4th of July last year, after Film Invasion LA, Film Invasion LA, I think, was like June 20-something.
Yep.
July 4th weekend, we fly up to Canada. We're staying with my friend, my childhood friend and his wife in Vancouver. All the kids are in college. We don't have, it's just two couples. And they say, we want to see a film from the last festival. And my wife just goes, you have to show them The Word.
Nice.
So we pull up Film Freeway on my phone. I throw it to his Apple TV, and they watch The Word. And this lovely Indian couple up in Canada were just like laughing their heads off. And then, of course, they were like, that was the smartest. So literally, your film became the go-to.
Nice.
Every time somebody wanted to see a film associated, because, when you're a festival runner and friends come over, they're like, oh, I want to watch a movie. Yeah. My wife, every time my wife shouts, The Word, show The Word. So
nice. I'm glad your friends liked it more than my parents, because I showed it to my parents. And they were silent the whole time. And I was like, hey, guys, you know it's a comedy. And they're like, oh, yeah. I'm like,
that is shocked. I'm shocked. Well, anyway, so now I will name, besides winning the Jeff's Life Partner's Favorite Film Award, which...
That's the most prestigious one.
I should put that on a trophy, but but all right. Grand Jury Award for Best Short Film Comedy. Grand Jury Award for Best Cast Performance in a Short. I kind of love that we have a Best Cast Award, by the way.
Yeah, that's great.
Filmmakers Award. The Grand Jury Awards are decided by the selection committee. Filmmakers Awards are chosen by a jury of alumni, so it's fellow filmmakers who are still actively making films. They happen to give you, Rob M. Neilson, Outstanding Director Comedy. They gave your screenplay Outstanding Screenplay Comedy, and that was, of course, for you, Colin Oakes, Sam Damaris, and Billy D. Washington. And Sam was there in person, I think, last year.
Yep. Yeah,
in fact, we had Sam and Adam. Sam, your producer, Adam Taylor, and one of your actors and a co-writer, Sam Damaris, at the festival last year, which was awesome. The filmmakers also gave you Outstanding Cast Performance, which seriously,
they're so good. They're
so good, including your two actors who barely speak. A cast of 6, but all 6 are super memorable and give amazing performances. And then y'all were kind enough to submit to a Film Invasion sister festival, and you were part of it at Sherman Oaks last year, and also took home Outstanding Short Film Comedy. So I forget how many that was, and I'm sure you got what scientists call a shit ton of awards from other festivals. So
I think a lot of people just have bad taste. So maybe I can put the awards to that, but I'll take them.
You'll take them. You'll be like, look, they don't know what they're talking about, but thanks.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you can be humble. It's totally permissible. All right, so The Word is one of the smartest, funniest, best comedies I've seen in a long time. It's just brilliant in every way. I stand by that, in spite of your humility, and people can see it now. Yeah.
Yeah, it is gone where all short films go, which is onto YouTube to die. I think we have 800 views. Wonderful. One of our friends managed she followed what Mr. Beast does and was able to get 1 million views for her short. And we tried to do some of the same things, and it's 800 views. But it is on YouTube that you can check it out right now and show your friends. And if you have any uptight family members, it's definitely a movie for them.
Yeah, you should definitely. Everybody with Should I name a political party? Let's just say if you've got a friend who leans right, make sure they watch it.
You know what though? A lot of so we've been in like 30 festivals, and a lot of them have been in like Texas and just random places and places that are, a little redder than others. And it always plays really well there. We've had a lot of weird kind of we've had more tense screenings in liberal places than we have in like right-wing places, which is crazy to me.
It's crazy, but I actually do get it. I get it because it's daring comedy, right? And you do not well, whatever. I could see where some people on the other side would actually they would not know they're allowed to laugh. In fact, I think Sam Damaris mentioned in the Q&A, I remember him saying that if he was sitting next to you or Adam at a festival Q&A, all the comments were positive.
Yep.
And if it was just two white guys doing the Q&A, people were like, "Do you think you should have done this?" or something like that.
And we should probably tell the people listening that the word is about billionaires 1% decide to give all African Americans reparations, but there's a catch. And yeah, it's really strange. There was one screening where a guy came up to me with the big belt buckle, the cowboy boots, the shirt and the hat, and he was like, "Hey man, I want to talk to you about your movie." And I thought he was gonna like be mad at me or something. And he was like, "Man, that was the funniest thing I ever seen." And it was like, wow, oh, okay. Really kind of took me aback that, some some places it plays like gangbusters where I thought, we would get run out of the place because they're, playing Fox News in the lobby.
But it just goes to show, right? Humor can triumph, which is awesome. That's great.
Sure. Yeah,
All right, so
and it'll just get people talking, and like you'll go out into the lobby after the screening, and you hear like people talking about the movie, and that's really cool because the amount of times you go to festivals and you see you forget what the first or second short was on a program. It's nice that you go in the lobby and it starts conversations.
For sure, for sure. All right, well, yeah, and you're talking about those programs where there's a bunch of shorts. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah. I don't know if you know, we have the limit at our two festivals. Like we won't show more than 4 at once but then again, we do 15-minute Q&As. So what are we going to do? Like show
Sure.
8 films and then talk for 6 hours? Like you just can't do it. So.
Sure. Yeah.
All right. So people and you'll email me a link to the YouTube so that because I imagine searching for the word might be a pain in the butt too. So
certainly, yeah, and we put it up on. We have this comedy pilot called Just a Bit, and we were kind of trying to grow the Just a Bit brand. So we put it under their YouTube. So if you search the title, it doesn't come up because one of Mr. Beast's things to do was to put like a sentence instead of the title to get views, and that has not worked. So Mr. Beast, you just go fuck yourself.
Well,
on your pile of money.
Yeah. We will, in the show notes for this podcast, wherever you're listening to this from, you will actually have a clickable link right to it.
Yes,
I highly recommend you watch it. I doubt we'll do any spoilers anyway, but I recommend everyone watch this film. My wife recommends you watch this film. All my friends do. Everyone on our jury does. So there you go. Excellent. Including the guy with the big belt buckle and the cowboy boots. So.
Yeah, exactly. He loved it.
Excellent. All right. Well, besides, and by the way, if I probably said this at the Q&A at the theater, but I would have definitely said it if you were there, which is that it's very easy to let the content of a film like this and the humor of a film like this be the focus of any discussion. But the filmmaking, the actual filmmaking is outstanding. Like it's not just the idea. It's not just the fact that you found this amazing location to shoot in. It's just the filmmaking from the cinematography to the editing, lighting. Of course, we already mentioned the acting and the cast, but the direction, it is a wonderfully made film. Like the filmmaking is outstanding.
I'm glad that it came out because, we ran short on time. I had to throw out half of my shot list. And, we had this gigantic table with the actors on either side. And of course, Sam and Billy, the leads, they're working comedians. Andy Huggins, who is one of the original Outlaw Texas comics with Sam Kinison and Bill Hicks, who I think he's got his second special up right now. He made his first special at 72 years old. You could find that online. They're working comics. So Sam and Billy were like, "Hey, I got a gig," and it's like, "Oh, no problem. We'll let you go. We'll shoot the other side of the room." And then Andy's actually like, I got a gig too. I got to go." So we really had to piecemeal it together. Having everyone in the room at the same time was nearly impossible, and I'm just glad that it all cut together.
It did, and like I said, it looks great. Everything about it is great. Pacing is great. The editing is outstanding. You do, hey, you might have been rushed, but you got in some very cool sequences that you got to get a little. I might even call it artistic. Like you had fun with it.
Sure, sure.
Like it's not. Look, I guess what I'm saying is you could have given the same script to another team, and it might not have come out well. It's very easy to miss quality filmmaking when you're just laughing through it, when you're being entertained. So I always have to make a point of saying that.
And I think I think we did a pretty good job. I shot it because I couldn't afford a DP, and I'm a DP by trade. So I was like, I'm going to shoot and direct, which is just a terrible idea. So when I see it on a big screen, it's kind of like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, I see that. But yeah, I'm happy with how it came out, and it taught me a valuable lesson, which is you need to read all of your location contracts, because we got this very beautiful, very expensive location, and on the contract was like a 20% service fee, and I figured it's like, oh yeah, service fee, like if it was in a hotel, if they're bringing us waters and that sort of thing, fine, no problem. And it was like, oh no, it was 20% of the location fee. So getting out there, it's like, oh great, we're automatically like a couple grand over budget now. It was wonderful and a really good lesson to read your contracts.
So there's a location fee, and then in the contract it just said, by the way, there's like a 20% tip on top.
Yeah. Yeah.
Instead of just putting that in the number at the beginning. I feel for you. Wow,
And
that is
I had
tough.
so much else to do when we're trying. We had such a trouble finding a location, so it's all happening at the last minute. And so I didn't even really think about it. And and then I realized, maybe a week before, I was just like, you know what, let's pull the plug. Like we should make this. Like everyone's telling me not to make it in the past, because I had that script since 2011. And I was going to pull the plug, and then I looked at the contract again, and I was like, "Oh, you forfeit your deposit anyway if you cancel within less than a month." So it's like, okay, now we have to make it. So we willed it into existence, and I'm glad that I didn't give in.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, okay, you mentioned I did know that from the festival screening that the script had been around for a while. But let's go back further. I just want you to go back. You are this very talented indie filmmaker, and you're coming. I fucked up the intro a little by not mentioning that you're in Houston.
I'm in Houston, Texas. Somehow I'm here.
You're in Houston, Texas. I'm in Los Angeles. That's why we're on Zoom. So my apology if anyone is upset with our audio quality. Don't blame Rob or I. Just blame the Zoom Corporation, and because we're good. So, how did you get into film? And by the way, where'd you grow up? Are you have you been in Texas forever? Or?
No, I moved to Texas in 2012 for my wife. I followed her. I'm from New York. And in high school, I had zero interest in school, but I took a video production class, and it's like, oh, got A's in my video production class, and kind of just made stupid movies. Went to college, not even thinking that film school was a thing. Still made movies in my, I went to a state school for a couple of years, and then I transferred over to a film school, and I learned how to shoot on 16 and all of that. Had a great time, made a bunch of movies that are all bad. And there's nothing else I was good at. So after I graduated, I just stuck with it, and I had to get, freelancing was tough in New York City, making rent as a PA. So I got a couple of jobs and worked in web video for some magazines that are all defunct because the way it was going. Um, and then I moved to Texas and started over freelancing here and kind of integrated myself with the local crew. And now mostly I get paid to, make propaganda for large corporations to sell you things that you do not need. But hey, I'll take it because I get to take that money and spend it on making really dumb movies.
Well, so what you're saying is you've carved out a niche and you're doing well shooting commercials and things and a little bit of corporate video, I suppose.
Yeah, we do commercials and docs, and I'll shoot for because it's Houston, we have a million athletes that live here. So there's always the other day the Tampa Bay Buccaneers came through, and I was working on a documentary that they've been shooting for a while. So it's kind of random. This is a really weird market, but at least I could stay busy here, where a lot of my friends in LA are all dying right now. Same in New York, just because everything's kind of on hold. So I'm just happy to be busy, and it's fun being on set, even if it's a garbage job. Like you still get to hang out with your friends and play with toys.
And Houston, am I right? Is Houston like Houston's number 3 in population in this country, right? Like hasn't Houston passed Chicago?
I think we're number 3 or 4. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, you're in it's a big city. It's a big market, like the metropolitan area. I mean, Houston is the real deal. So I imagine there really is quite a lot of production going on all the time.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of narrative stuff here, and the stuff we do is usually, kind of crappy Tubi movies. But yeah, we're gonna get some good Texas incentives, and hopefully there'll be a little bit more narrative coming here. And yeah, I just hope to get to shoot a little bit more narrative work, because it's you get bored shooting like sneaker ads over and over.
For sure. All right. So you were very humble about the young years, the college years, and you said you just made dumb films and stuff. Were you always into comedy?
No, it's really funny. Like some of the first like student films I made were like really like serious, and like dark and try, and then comedy kind of always has been a little bit of my thing. So I've always been doing that. But we have a really fun, a friend here has a really fun screening every month. They do a thing. It's called the Bowl Cuts Roast, where you show up and a filmmaker will show like an old student film and they have comedians make fun of it while it's playing on screen. So I've got to like watch a bunch of my student work in recent years, and it's kind of fun. It's like you can see it and it's like, oh well, that's garbage, but like it's endearing.
Yeah, and it is of the time. You everyone needs to. No one's first work is great. So
no, I am really jealous though of all the people starting out now, because the tools available, like there's you if you're making bad images now, you have no excuse. Where back then it was like, well, we couldn't afford Super 16, so we're like shooting on 3/4 VHS, and it's like, oh yeah,
no, it was. Yeah, so yeah, because you mentioned when you did actually end up in film school, you worked with 16 and stuff, which again, also, I guess that kind of dates you, right? Because
sure.
A lot of programs, I don't think they do it anymore.
Oh yeah, I mean it's such a great way to learn, and the whole process of shooting on film, it really that's how it should be done. I mean, you need to block and then light and shoot, and the starting and stopping, it's all for a reason. Where now, sometimes there's some directors I shoot for where we just don't cut the camera. And I understand why you can do that, but I kind of like the old process, and it was really a great way to learn, because it all applies to digital sensors as well. My first year in film school was the year they switched over to nonlinear video editing, which is great. I got to edit on a Steam Deck and see how hard that is. I can't imagine how, like if you watch like Orson Welles' F is for Fake, all the edits in that movie, like they must have took them years and years and years sitting at the Steam Deck with, chopping up frames. But yeah, I'm just grateful that I kind of came along in a weird time, but I still got to learn some of the tried and true ways.
Yeah, and I would never. Lord knows there's young talents who didn't need to learn it the hard way, but I guess it just dates me. But but I will never doubt the value of having learned to edit at least once in your life, physically cutting
Yeah.
a work print, because that's how you learn a feel. Like, because digitally you can adjust frames, the same frame, three this way, two that way. You can adjust to infinity, but when you cut and then taped over, that was it. Like,
Yeah. You really had to think about why you're making the cuts.
yeah, you did, and you saw how they played. Like, you watched it back again, and yeah, no, it was obviously it was a great way to learn.
I'm really sad though. My film school, they were throwing out all their Steenbecks. They were like, if they're here, they're free. Come take them. But I lived in like a really tiny studio apartment, and it was like I chose having a bed over a Steenbeck. It would have been super cool.
Was that in New York? Were you
Yeah, yeah. I went to School of Visual Arts in Manhattan.
excellent?
Couldn't afford NYU, so I went to NYU Light.
That's a good way to say it. All right, so and you were also always your own cameraman, it sounds like?
When I went to school, I did the cinematography path because half of my friends they took a major directing, and I was like, well, at least if I like learn to be a technician, I can have a job where all these other people are going to have to struggle to find their way and make their own work. So I feel like that was a good path because in Texas I work as a DP, I work as a gaffer, and it helps to be able to have like your foot in each world. That way you're able to be employable.
It's way more practical, and also people will turn to a DP and say, we can let this DP direct such and
Yeah,
such, but no one ever looks at someone who's bills himself as a director and goes, oh yeah, they can DP.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it only works one way. So you had a nice balance, I guess, as a young person. You kind of
Sure.
you it sounds like you had a clue.
And I mean, it's just fun holding a camera. So I just like, I mean, operating is really fun. So I didn't want to let anyone else do that. It's like, no, no, I want to do that.
And after graduating, you stayed in New York for a while. Did you make any shorts, or life was just
Oh,
too
sure.
hectic? Yeah.
No, no, I was still making shorts. After I got out of school, I still made shorts on Super 16 when I could, or just mini DV. I think then we were shooting. We had the HVX 200, and I remember me and my friends we split the HVX with a 35 millimeter adapter, so the camera was about this big and ISO 160 when all said and done. And yeah, we went and we made like a indie road feature for like less than $10,000 with a crew of three. We had one day where we had some crew, so in the credits it looks like an actual movie. And we got to bring that on the festival circuit, and that was actually where I met the lead actor in that movie was Charlie Oakes, and his brother Colin Oakes just emailed me a document that was a dump of a bunch of different sketches and shorts, and one of them was The Word, and I was like, this is hilarious, and I took it. And I, put it in a script form. I changed the ending a little bit because the ending in that was a little crazy. And then I went to all my friends and I was like, "Hey, like, should we make this?" And everyone is like, "No, like you should know, no, like you should not make this specifically." And I was like, "Okay, great." So I put it on the back burner.
And was that always because of The Word? They just
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
want
I
you
mean,
making a film about The
I
Word?
I lack melanin, and they were all like, "This is a bad idea." It was, that was probably we made that movie in like 2008 or 2009. So this is probably 2010. So we had Obama, we had the right wing reaction to Obama, and they were like, "This is not the time, like not you, not the time." And it was like fair, does make sense. Um, and I just put it on the back burner. And then in 2021, I was sitting at a film festival in LA with Sam Damaris because he was in the pilot, just the bit that we had made, and we were thinking, it's like, we want to make something really quick, something that's super quick and super easy. And I was like, oh, I've got this one thing that's just a conversation in a room. How hard can that be to make? How expensive could people talking in a room be? Um, and I sent the script to Sam, and I was like, "Hey, man, if you read this and like you do not want to kick my ass, like I want you to be in it. Like let's make it." And he read it. I sent it to Billy as well because he was also in that pilot. And I guess like they read it, and right after Sam read it, the phone rang, and it was Billy, and they were just like, what is this? I think Billy didn't want to make it. Um, and but like I'd worked with them before, so we had like kind of a good relationship. Then they didn't like the ending, and they were like, "We got to change the ending." And it's like, "Yeah, great." So we all collaborated and made a script that we liked. And then we went and did it, and surprisingly, fewer people told us that we shouldn't make it. But I know Billy said a bunch of his friends were mad at him, and it's like I don't know. I feel like the comedy comes from a good place in it. It's not like trying to be offensive, but
That is interesting, and I have to confess, uh, there was a jury member or two on our jury who did note that Billy and Sam were co-writers,
yeah,
and that gave them permission to like it.
sure,
You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, and
I mean, people are so sensitive, but I get it.
sure, and I mean, like they brought a lot to the script as well. There's like a little monologue in there that Billy wrote for himself, and it's kind of the heart of the movie. And if I just got actors that were just gonna say the lines on the page, it would have suffered. It wouldn't have been as good of a movie as making them like full collaborators. And it made it more fun.
I know the monologue you're talking about, and absolutely, it is the heart
Yeah,
for
yeah. And
sure.
he was just like, "Hey, we're just thinking about this. Could I put this in?" It was like, "Yes, you can. Let's do it." I can't remember if it was in the script form or if it happened on set. I probably my brain cells have been murdered since then. But yeah, like what an incredible monologue, and what an add to the movie.
For sure. And the ending you all collaborated on works great. I mean, as I recall, I think Sam was saying like any other ending just didn't work for him.
Yeah,
Like for him personally, he's like if he saw this. So the great thing is you made the film true to the artists involved, which as a
yeah.
director, that's got to be your goal.
And I mean, the original ending in the story was just too silly. So I got rid of it, and then I made it just as the guy's about to say the word, they grab him, check in cleared yet, and Sam and Billy were like, "No, we gotta punish them more." And it's like, all right, like let's punish them. I really wish that we had the time and budget to really punish them and get gratuitous with that. That would have been kind of funny if we made it kind of over the top violence at the end. But having it happen off camera was great. Spoilers, guys. Sorry. Um, but yeah, and we had.
I mean, again, as someone who's seen it like 15 plus times, there's you can't spoil it.
I mean, it's a short film, so
It's a short film,
yeah,
and it is called The Word, and I mean, whatever. Yeah, there's no mistaking. I
yeah,
don't think, but spoilers aside, fully entertaining every time.
awesome. Well, thanks for watching.
Sometimes I don't have a choice. I'll
Sure.
probably watch it again tonight after I talk to you and I tell her, yeah, I just talked to the director of The Word.
Well, tell her I said hi, but I feel your pain too because I volunteered to be a screener for a festival in Texas, and like it's that's not an easy thing to do, and really, I'm trying to like watch things in a good mood because I always wonder when you send things to a festival, maybe someone's just having a bad day and you're the 10th movie they're watching. What does that do to your rating? So it's really like it gives me like a little bit of agony, like doing it because I feel bad for the filmmakers. It's like,
Yeah, because you know how hard they worked.
yeah,
No,
yeah,
it is tough. I mean, the funny thing for me to share is that I mean, like on this podcast, I've had some people say, "You love everything. You're so effusive. You love all the work." I'm like, we there's a festival in June and a festival in December, and they each average about 700-800 submissions. And so, yeah, the 60 that get into the festival, I think are fucking
Oh,
amazing.
great. Yeah, yeah.
But you want to ask me about the bottom 10% instead of the top
Sure.
10%? Then I'll sound like the biggest jerk who ever lived because these people poured their hearts into the films. And I'm like, that's not a 9 out of 10. That's a 3 out of 10. And,
And now they're at least very easy to screen. But my friend who was, doing film festivals in the 80s and 90s as a programmer, he was, they would have a theater, and if the thing that was on screen was awful, you could raise your hand. If a certain percentage of people raise their hand, they'd skip to the next thing. And I just think, but it's just like Clockwork Orange. I mean, even
it,
if you're watching good movies, it's tough.
yeah. Although I have to admit that, like, when you see, but yeah, that era, the era where you would send an actual answer print to
Yep.
festivals as a submission, I mean, not even VHS, pretty crazy. Although imagine when you would send a VHS, there'd be a couple people in a room with a VCR watching it
Sure.
because they wouldn't bother making 10 copies of everything and passing it around. VHS would cost money.
Yeah. Yeah. And especially the generation loss. I started editing on a video toaster, and by the time you made your cut, you lost a generation, and your master tape would be awful.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my God. Memories. But I will admit that when you, even in this wonderful modern era where, we have a platform like Film Freeway and it's got all the screeners on it and you just watch
Yeah.
one after another. And, you know, I might set the timer on my watch to 5 minutes so that I'm reminded at 5 minutes if I should, because sometimes you get a little too generous with your time and you're like, well, this isn't good enough, but I want to know how it ends. And you're
Right.
like, no, there's like 700 more films to get to. You gotta move on. If there's terrible acting, just move on. Don't worry about the story. But I get really actually I it actually really affects my mood. Like if I if I go through a night of screeners and like nothing is festival worthy,
Yeah. Yeah.
like I go to bed that night going, "Ooh, are we gonna have a shitty festival this year?"
Oh,
Because
yeah.
because we rely upon people like yourself to send us great stuff. Like everyone, I don't. Well, you didn't get to be there, but like we have this funny thing. I don't know why it's a brag, but we only show good movies. Like we don't like we really only show like we really like
That's a good
last
rule.
like December last December like if a film is from Munich, Germany, and the people who made it have told us they can't come out, we're like we don't care. We're showing your film. We know it's not going to sell a single ticket, but that's a film we're going to show.
I mean, good movies are good movies, and that's the best thing about festivals, because you'll even go to a tiny festival in a little town, and there'll be an audience of 30 people, but half the time you'll see something good, and you'll leave there wanting to make things. That's the most powerful thing, is like, by the time you get to a festival, you've seen your movie 8,000 times and you hate it, but then you see someone's movie that you love, and it's like, oh, I'm ready. Let's do it again.
And you just named the thing that my number one. I love the filmmakers who watch each other's work. Some
Yeah,
every once in a while you get someone who like shows up, they go to their screening and they go home. And I'm
sure.
like, you had that pass for like 4 days of films on two screens. You could have seen like all this stuff for free and see what your peers are working on and see what other people are thinking. And you didn't care. It always shocks me when people aren't interested in watching other people's work.
And also, I mean, your peers, like that's what film festivals are for. You meet people that are coming up, that are kind of in the same path as you, and you'll find collaborators there. I mean, at Sherman Oaks, one of the programmers, one of the judges, reached out to us, and we're making things with him, and it's like incredible, And it's just you meet just great random people at festivals. It could be a festival with 100 people, it could be a festival with 1,000 people, and you're going to meet some interesting filmmakers. And yeah, there've been a few that we're looking to do things with.
That's so cool. Yeah, actually, it always. I mean, we don't they have to be good, but there's nothing more exciting for me than when someone like either getting the email saying two people who met at our last festival at Sherman Oaks in December, they like last month they shot a short together.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
incredible.
a guy who was a camera operator and director and a writer actor. They've liked each other's films. They met at the opening night gala, and then they went to each other's screenings, and they liked each other's films. And then they're like, "Hey, guess what? We made a film last week." Like they did the podcast, and they were like, "Hey." So
That's so
I'm
cool.
like, that is the best.
You know what also is it's kind of fun. There was one festival we went to that doesn't exist anymore, but it was lovely. And there was one filmmaker we're hanging out with the whole time for days and days and days. We're talking about working together, and then but he didn't see our film yet. And then this wasn't the word. This was another one. And after he saw our film, he didn't talk to us anymore. And it was like, hey man, I don't mind if you if you didn't like it, but come have a beer.
That was, I mean, I won't. No one will be able to call me out on this because it's over 30 years ago. But when I was on the fest, I first experienced film festivals in the 90s, right? When I was a young guy. And you'd always meet people and be like, oh, I really like that person. Like you always liked people. And then I would go to their screenings and it'd be like worse than what people like a junior high project.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's like so like amateurish. And I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
I think standards were a lot lower back then, by the way. I think standards are higher these days, I think. But
I think so because we've been into so many festivals with the word and everything looks like $1,000,000. But people don't always have a great script or get great performances. And I feel like you can get by 20 years ago a little bit more, and now it's like there's no excuse if it doesn't look great. But really, story, most important thing. It's kind of hack to say, but it is.
story and performance, like they say, yes, story and performance, quality performances. Well, I mean, that's what's free, right? That not necessarily free, but that's a good actor and a poor actor hopefully will cost the same.
Right.
You know what I mean? At the indie level.
Sure.
Like you said, story is everything. Yeah. Cause now, back then it was, I think the 90s were a little dominated by rich kids because, when you made a film and it was like when shorts
You had to make a film.
Shorts were like, when 90 minutes of 16 millimeter, that shit was crazy. Because, I mean, you would sit there. If the DP if they didn't stop the camera, you'd hear it and go, wait a minute, are you burning film?
Yeah.
Because I used to know, I think 35 was 90 feet a minute and like 16 was like 33 feet a minute or something. But it was like, dude, every minute goes by, a lot of feet of film are going through and we're going to have to pay to develop it too. So
I feel like acting might be better on film because some of the actors, they hear it going through the camera and there's a little bit more pressure because they know that, dollars are churning through it. Where when you're just rolling on the card, it's like, hey, whatever, I'm going to do 30 takes.
Also, unless you're super rushed, right? When on film, especially on an indie film, you could tell that actor, we got a 3-to-1 ratio. You got 3 takes max.
Yep.
So don't waste them. Whereas people who are used to digital video or, digital can just be like, oh yeah, I'll get 10, 20 shots at this because I'll just keep trying different things. And it's like, no, film was, you either got it or you didn't.
Yep. And I find that, usually when we're shooting things, sometimes we'll do a lot of takes. Sometimes we'll do like 6 takes or 7 takes. And I feel like in the edits, I'm either using the first take or the last one.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, still 6 is pretty disciplined, if you ask me.
I feel like once you're going past that, it's like not getting any better. But technical reasons, there's a million reasons to stop.
For sure. All right, so we know the whole story of the word now, and when you first came across it, and then what finally got it made, and when did you finish? Did you complete it in? Was it done in 2023 or 2024?
It was before that. I think it was done in. I think it's a 2023 premiere. We shot in. I could probably find my call sheet. We shot, and I can never forget because we shot on September 11th. So it's very easy to remember that in my mind. Let's see what my call sheet was. I think we shot in 2022. We shot in September, and then I had the edit finished more or less in December. And then it was like months and months of waiting to see where we were going to get in. And it really sucked. We got into so many festivals, and I would love to go to all of them, but we really had to start being strategic about where to go because the money just piled up. And there'd be a weekend where we'd be playing in three festivals, and it's like, how do we even choose? So yeah, it's just throwing darts at the board.
But a very good problem to have, and
Oh yeah, I mean, great problem to have. A lot of our other movies we've made, we've gotten into like three things, and we're overjoyed. So it was nice to be able to pick and choose, but I missed out on so many cool places.
fair enough, yeah. But at least you had a big team too, and people all around in
Yeah. Oh,
different
that was
cities too.
incredible. Yeah, that was incredible. It was really good because we were able to divide and conquer a little bit, so we could, because it does make a difference if you're there.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's always. I mean, well, I already said how we show films when we know the filmmakers won't be able to be there to support it, but it's always better. It's always better to
It's always
have
so
an
much better. Yeah.
in-person chat afterwards. I mean, the Q&As are great. And by the way, one of the great, in the block that the word played in at Film Invasion LA, we had a really beautiful art film actually open that block.
Mhm.
And the coolest thing was Sam introduces himself as a comedian, but he goes, wait, wait, wait. Before we say one word about the word, that movie Pang blew my mind. I loved that. And that level of generosity, that filmmaker actually came back to our next festival, and he mentioned it to me. He's like, I still can't believe that like this hilarious person took time out from his Q&A to praise my film, and
Yeah.
just
Well,
really
and
nice.
sometimes you feel bad because you're sitting up there and questions will be going to, whatever was the last movie of the block. And someone with something great is kind of sitting there and doesn't get to talk. And
Well,
it's
that's
a tough.
why we do the thing where we show four films, we bring up the lights, and we bring up the filmmakers one at a time, one film at a time. We're going to discuss
Oh, nice.
them.
Yeah, yeah,
Each person
cool.
gets their own Q&A. I will. I would rather we're not capitalist enough, but I don't know. That's just me as a festival runner, like thinking, well, we're not good. We're not good at business, but we're good about the art. And
Be good, good at people.
each film gets its own 15 minutes because otherwise, why do it?
And
I
then,
would never want to be involved in. I get it. Sometimes you do the firing squad thing and you line everyone up, but
yeah,
not for
I,
us.
I, I I appreciate that you do it that way because there's so many photos of me in Q&As where I'm listening to someone else and I just look dumb trying to be engaged.
That is the other. I mean, believe me, I cannot go anywhere near a Q and A video because I can't believe how much I move my hands when I talk and shit.
Yeah.
And then when other people are talking, my hands just kind of go onto my knees and I'm like, you are the most awkward motherfucker in the world. Like I hate
Yep.
having to see myself. So yeah, I would dread. I would be just like you. I would look at myself at standing there while someone else is talking and be like, what the hell?
What's going on?
Apparently, we need media training, as they call it.
I agree.
Well, so after the word, I mean, obviously you're not slowing down. Is there are there a bunch of shorts you're thinking about at all
Yeah,
times? Do you have like a little portfolio?
I have a bunch of scripts that we never made that are kind of like on the back burner. We recently got a grant to make one of them from the Houston Arts Alliance, which is nice. So we're kind of preliminarily casting that. That's going slow though, because we're all trying to work at the same time. Just finished the first draft of the feature that I would probably never get the money to make. And I'm in the notes stages right now, so I can make the second draft kind of not be garbage. But I strongly believe it's like you just shit it out. You just get it out on the page so it's a thing and you could fix it later. Because I started writing it in 2023 and tinkered. And so I just threw out everything and then put it together in about a month. And now I need to make it not be awful.
Gotcha. Hey, but that means you know how to write because if the writers who feel that their first draft has to be great and they just never finish anything. You have to
Yeah,
get that first draft out. Yeah.
exactly. And then we have another iron in the fire. We made a horror short called Daughters of Evil that I feel like could actually be like fairly marketable as a horror feature. So we're in the preliminary steps of that as well. So hopefully, that will probably be get to production. I think we can make it at a fairly low budget level and find the money. So hopefully, in I don't know, 2 years we're on set for that. And in the meantime, we're just gonna kind of crank out some funny shorts to amuse ourselves.
Yeah, yeah, and you covered. I don't have to ask the feature question, but I do have to add, like, I feel you, man, with the horror thing. I actually have become a fan of horror because I've got a teenager who
Mhm.
came home from a sleepover about 5 years ago and said, "I will only watch horror movies now."
Nice.
So, so, but, I mean, I've been around long enough now to see like an indie horror feature has a really good shot in the marketplace compared to others.
Yep.
It's just a
Yep.
fact of life.
Yeah, and
And if you're
it's
involved, I assume it might have an element of comedy, maybe.
oh yeah, for sure, for sure. It's kind of like a '60s girl band gets possessed by demons. It is finishing its festival run. It'll probably be online fairly soon. It'd be really fun. I hope we get to make it. And that was the movie that Sam, who's one of the judges from Sherman Oaks, might get involved in writing.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. All right. Well, I think we're up to date. Is there anything else you want to that is worth bringing up?
Yeah,
And I should have warned everyone. You are a little sick, and so every once in a while you pause to cough a little bit. So I should
I'm
have
sorry.
given a little warning so you'd be more comfortable with it.
I've got the consumption. Yeah, no, I'm a cinematographer by trade. Please hire me. I like to work. If you have a fun project,
Yeah,
I've
and
got.
you'll even maybe even leave Houston if it's a good enough gig. Yeah,
Hey man, have Ari will travel. I'll go wherever.
man, a man with a cam.
That exactly. And you could find me. My production company is savagehenryfilms.com. So you can get in touch with me there. You can look at a lot of the garbage commercials we make for vast sums of money and power and glory. And yeah, get in touch. Let me shoot your movie. Hire me.
And by the way, I mean, again, you're being humble and making fun of it. I actually did go to shot. I didn't watch The Word again to prepare for this because I've seen it so many times. But I did go to savagehenryfilms.com and I watched. You got a demo reel on there and
Yeah, yeah.
quality. It's quality.
I mean, all demo reels. It just every just cut to a beat. Pretty image cut to a beat.
But it
But
also, I
the
did
trailer for
notice, like
Daughter,
are you plugged into the stand up scene there,
a
or
little bit,
because there's a
yeah.
good amount of stand up being shot.
Yeah, so we made this pilot just a bit that the premise kind of is, I love comedy. I hate watching comedy. It's meant to be experienced in person. So we kind of take the bit from each comedian and we put them in the world of that bit. So if they're talking about a bit in a bar, they're in the bar talking to the camera. So we made this pilot. It played a bunch of places. We actually got a showrunner that was a writer on the first few seasons of The Simpsons. He brought in his buddy, who is a comedy legend, and we started shopping it around, and everyone told us no. And I think it would have been pretty expensive to make because every episode would be five comedians, probably two or three A-list people, and then some B-list. So I think the price tag was probably too much, and it will never get made. But you can watch the pilot that we made for no money on Savage Chain Films. It's called Just a Bit, and that's where we met Slade Ham and Sam Damaris, and kind of got plugged into the comedy scene down here.
I mean, sounds like a really great idea. Sounds like a really great premise, but I get it. TV, I'll never, I mean, I will never understand why some things do and don't get on television,
Yeah,
let alone why which films catch fire and become household names and which don't.
sure. It's all random, but I can see why we couldn't sell ours because each bit needed a different set, and it's like okay, that would be quite expensive to make.
Right. In the
But
TV world, they just kind of want it, especially with stand up. It's the cheapest thing in the world for streaming channels, right? So
exactly. So, but yeah, people should go check out the website and see the stuff that we got up there.
excellent. All right, and both websites will be clickable links in the show notes, like I said at the top. And you care about social media? Should we put social media links too, or?
I mean, I'm on Instagram as Savage Henry Films with underscores between everything. I rarely post, which is terrible. I've actually lost a job because they said I didn't have enough social media followers, which is hilarious. So I'm trying to get better at that.
That is funny. All right. Before I do my final wrap up, I'll just tell you that we never accepted a film from an influencer type because they had a lot of followers.
Yeah.
But we have had 2 films that were great that were in our festivals over the last, 4 to 5 years. And these both people said, oh, I got 150,000 followers, blah, blah, blah. How big is the theater, blah, blah, blah. And both films played to an empty house.
Yep.
Because social media followers are not actual fans.
Yeah, and it really is weird because like even as we were casting out some things, casting people were like, you should see how many followers they have. And it's like that doesn't equal a paying customer. That's like someone that likes watching you do dumb dances on TikTok. And it's really weird. And especially for that I didn't get a job because I didn't have enough followers. Because it's like, who cares, the cameraman? I mean, I can maybe understand directors sort of. But yeah, it was quite silly.
I know as a camera person, as a DP, like, yeah. What do they expect you to that doesn't?
How many followers does the Key Grip have?
Doesn't make any sense unless they were like, we want everyone to whatever this. Okay, I'll back off the social media thing, but I figured I would share that these people with more than 100,000 they didn't sell a ticket.
Just during this rant, you just have to put on the Abraham Simpson "Old Man Yells at Cloud" gif, and we'll be good.
Absolutely. All right, I'll do my closing spiel, which is first. Sure. Thank you, Rob, for hopping on. I know it's bedtime in Houston, and thank you everyone who is listening. If you want to be nice, do the like and subscribe thing. Maybe even write a review if you want to be the Mother Teresa of internet reviews. If you want to learn more about this podcast, it's all about filmmakers who are on the festival circuit. Just go to discoverindiefilm.com. On social media, it's always at DIFwins. I have actually personally quit social media. I'm saying that at the end of every podcast.
Nice.
I walked away from it. I'm on Blue Sky only. So if you actually go to at DIFwins on Blue Sky, I'm the person who reads your comments and messages or whatever. Of course, no one is on Blue Sky, so it's so quiet. And the podcast producer, Karina handles the other platforms that I am afraid of. But I don't know if it's fear, but I've learned I quit them in January. And then 4 days later, I read a book. I'm serious. My brain was like, you're not looking at videos of bunny rabbits running around people's homes. Like I was really into pet videos. I broke free of the algorithms that were dominating my brain. And my brain said, hey, it's been 4 days. Why don't we read?
Yeah. I didn't know you could read analog still. That's crazy.
It wasn't a conscious decision either. I didn't say I'm going to quit social media, so I'll read some books. I quit social media, and 4 days later, I was just sitting there going, I feel like reading. So
yeah. Good. Great. That's good for you.
So happy about that. So anyway, I'm not encouraging people to quit social media, but if you do it, just go to Blue Sky. There's no algorithm. There's nothing pushing nonsense at you. All right. So anyway, soapbox kicked away. That's discoverindiefilm.com. If you go to discoverindiefilm.org, that is actually the nonprofit that runs the 2 film festivals that I'm involved in. Sherman Oaks Film Festival is every December, and that's ShermanOaksFF.com. Film Invasion LA, where we showed the word. Actually, we showed the word of both, but Film Invasion LA came first. That's every June. If you want to learn more, that's filminvasionla.com, and it's at Film Invasion LA on social media. I'll mention that this year is the 10th anniversary for both, and we're nice. Pulling out a few cool things, a new award, a new this, a new that. And I'm wondering if we're going to have some time to show greatest hits from the previous 9 years. And the last thing to mention is, the last thing before I thank everybody is, Film Invasion LA has been around for 10 years now, and we've had other cities come to it, like teams in it from others. There's been a lot of false starts. January 2026, we're going to have Film Invasion in Lima, Peru.
Oh, cool.
Go figure. South America.
That's awesome. Yeah, sweet.
Super excited about that. So people can check out that festival too. And I'm going to fly to Peru for the first time next year. Who knew?
That sounds awesome. That's wonderful.
I'm so excited. I'm really, you should see this theater. It's like in the colonial, the Spanish colonial downtown area where there's museums and stuff. It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. And it's 1/7 the cost of our theater in LA.
Yeah, no doubt.
Hot damn. All right. Rob, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And thank you everyone for listening.